Having a heart of hospitality can mean different things in different cultures and different places. But today I want to share some simple ways that I have found that you can have a heart of hospitality in a small house with small children. It's not that everything has to be perfect.
My name is Melinda. I am a happy wife and mom of 4. Thank you for joining me today as I share the things that I have learned with other busy young moms like myself.
Today I want to share about hospitality and the blessings we've had in hospitality, and that it doesn't all have to be perfect. Last week, one day, I don't have the opportunity for many guests, like for a meal or something, besides immediate family here where we live. The culture, for one thing, doesn't lend itself to that. It's much more common, maybe, to, if someone stops by, offer them coffee or something, but to invite someone for a meal or get invited for a meal just doesn't happen very regularly. It's something I've missed from my youth and childhood, but I found ways that I can still have a heart of hospitality right where I am. Last week, though, we had the opportunity one day, someone was coming from a couple of hours away. Someone we've known for years, maybe not been close to, but they were coming to get a part from my husband's job that they needed for something of theirs. And so my husband invited them to stay for supper. It was a day we'd been without water from 10:30 in the morning till a bit before 6, and that doesn't happen very often, but that they were fixing the water line up from our place somewhere. And so we were without water. We had known on time, so I had stored water. But the dinner dishes, the lunch dishes were still in the sink. None of us had had our baths. We'd had a full afternoon. And still, we had visitors. And I was blessed, and I pray and hope they were blessed. It's always been my prayer that people who come to my home would find a place of rest. That our home would be a refuge from this rough world. And that others who would come would be blessed, would remember the atmosphere, because perfection they won't find in a small unfinished house with small children. Beauty, yes. Love, joy, yes. That's why I'd like to say the atmosphere is more important than how everything is in your home. How is your heart for things about hospitality? And how's the atmosphere of your home? Is it a place of joy and laughter, of blessing, even if things aren't perfect? Or is it a place where there's tension, where you can feel that everything just isn't restful? That's the hardest kind of place to be at. One of my best tips for hosting or for having a heart of hospitality is to not apologize. You do not need to apologize if you burn something badly or whatever, but just because it's not all perfect, you don't need to apologize. Just because there's some toys on the floor, it happens. It's a home with children. You don't need to apologize that you don't have perfect dishes. We realized that day that we don't have any glasses for serving drink, like actual made from glass. We just have plastic and tin and coffee mugs. And we decided, well, maybe that's something we could improve on, but it's not something that we had to apologize for, because it's who we are, and it's who our home is, and we haven't had much room to get more glasses and so on, but I think we probably will try to get a few before the next time. But there's simple things like that you don't need to apologize for them. I had to, while my visitors were there, the youngest 2 girls were getting very tired and grumpy. I had to go give them a bath and put them to bed. I had to nurse the baby. I couldn't be this perfect hostess, always making sure that everything was fine, and I didn't have time to make dessert because I just found out last minute that they were coming, or not last minute, but towards late afternoon. What is this?
I don't know.
Oh, some interesting plants. Thank you.
You can have them.
Oh,
What
thank you.
do the leaves look like?
They look like, I think these are actually flowers or seed pods of some kind.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I found the best place for lighting and everything too, and for being able to take the time to make these videos is when I'm on a walk with my girls. So, and you get to see a little glimpse of our walks and our places and the landscape around us and what Costa Rica is like. It is really beautiful. Another tip for hosting or having a heart of hospitality with small children is to practice politeness and manners with your children. With ours, before visitors come, we usually remind them of things we remind them otherwise too, but how do we talk to people? What do we do when someone asks us a question? I mean, we don't require that our children always shake hands or answer questions. We tell them if mom and dad are close by and it's a safe place. Like, if they'd be alone with strangers, they wouldn't be required to do it. But they can shake hands, they can answer questions, they can smile at the people and be friendly. Some other people might have issues of having to try to teach their children to be less assertive, but that is definitely not the situation at our place. We're all the time trying to get our children a little bit more, I don't know, not so shy, I guess, when they're strangers, especially at first, when there's new people. What is it, baby? I heard an idea the other day that I really liked of a lady who said she has this candle that at mealtime she often says, "This candle represents manners," she tells her children with a smile. So I want you to, and she lists things off to them, like not chew with your mouth full of, like your mouth open, speaking with your mouth full, interrupting others, all the things, whatever your things are. And then she says, "So candle on, manners on." And I thought, oh, what a neat idea. I should have used it last night actually, because last night we were all tired, and yesterday the evening meal was not at all perfect. And so there's another idea to practice. But yeah, then when your visitors are going to come, you can just remind your children of the simple rules. But if they're not perfect, it's okay. They're children still. They're still young children. Find simple ways to add beauty to your home. Our guests had found some flowers beside the road on their way, and they brought us some, and we could put it in a cup on the table. There were some pretty white flowers that smelled really good, and so we were blessed, because I hadn't had time to go and get some flowers or something. But there's simple ways to make your home a welcome place, keeping it neat and clean to a degree. To do that, some of my best tips are to work on the biggest areas first. I had earlier in the day, before I'd known they were coming, but I had swept up the floor, picked up everything, and made sure that once I knew they were coming, that the table was cleaned up. The biggest spaces were cleaned up, and that helps a lot. Not everything had to be perfect and clean, and it couldn't be. The dishes couldn't be washed before they came, and that kind of stuff. But it was still a place that wasn't so dirty and so messy that it was uncomfortable to go in, because I've been in that kind of houses too. And one wants a place of rest. Another tip for hosting when you have small children in small places is to keep it simple. If you don't have time for dessert, at least, I mean, I try to when I do have time, and here, there's maybe places where it would be a requirement, but here, if I would have had time, I would have made some jello or something, but there wasn't time for anything, and it was okay. Keep your meals simple. A soup, I made tortillas with chicken fajitas. That's fairly simple for me. And just something that I think I often prefer at other places too. I would prefer to get invited more often. That's just who I am. Maybe not everyone would. And to have a simple meal than to have someone not invite me just because they can't work up everything perfectly. I pray that our home was still a blessing, that the food was filling, and that's what I try to always keep in mind when I don't. And at this stage with little ones, once they're all bigger and can help with once my girls can help with the meal preparation more, and once, I don't have little children, babies that need to be nursed and bathed and all that. Hopefully, I can do things a little bit nicer and more perfect, but for now, it's the heart that counts, and we were blessed, and I pray our guests were blessed too. Practicing hospitality can mean different things in different places. Here, it might mean that, yeah, it's not often that we have guests over for a meal, but maybe it would mean having cookies in the freezer for a friend who comes by when my husband is around occasionally and asks for a cookie or two. He's made wrong choices in life, he's despised in general by the population, but we can give him a touch of homemade love when he asks for a cookie. There's also seasons. Just because you've had a new baby doesn't mean you have to feel like you have to host. I don't think in general, like not extra. I've had years where I try to get cookie plates ready for New Year or something with my girls, and we hand them out to the neighbors. Years where health issues didn't allow me to do it. I was too tired, and so I just didn't that year, and that was okay too. It's the heart that counts, I believe, and a question I always like to ask myself is, would Jesus feel welcome here? He doesn't need perfection from us. He's here anyway, but does the atmosphere of my home and the simple service I can do with a joyful heart, is that where Jesus would feel welcome? Then hopefully others would too. And if others can be blessed, then I am blessed. If Jesus would be welcome here, we have a place where the love of Jesus can shine through. As I think of hospitality and wishing sometimes I could do more, wishing I could have a guest room or could have guests more often, I keep thinking about that it's my heart that counts, and being faithful to what God has for me and the opportunities He places before me. I don't have to do it perfectly, but if I can have a joyful heart and show the love of Jesus in the simple ways, in the people who come by our place asking for food sometimes, in whatever it is, those are the ways that I can practice homemade, heartfelt hospitality. Thank you for listening. I pray you would be blessed and that you could go light your corner of the world, and that others would feel blessed when they come to your home. We'll see you next time.